What's up, folks? I'm your host, J.C. Owens. This is Rock My World, EP.5, titled Taking One for the Team. Now, why did I call it that? Well, first off, before we even go there, Puffy is a bad man. We all know this already. Enough said. I'm not defending him. Now, why did I call it Taking One for the Team? Well, because that's basically what Puffy is doing. Now, everybody kind of knows by now, like, what happened in court, what he's been given, all that kind of stuff. But, and the things that they leave out are probably the most important, though, as per usual. Now, what he was running was a blackmail operation, not only for his own benefit, but for the benefit of those who raised him up. Now, the thing is, with client-side scanning and AI and digital ID coming up real soon and all this other stuff they're implementing, they don't really need Epstein or Diddy or a lot of these other old-school blackmail operations. They have all the information they ever need on anyone because they have all of your online traffic. Everything you've ever said in text messages. Everything you've ever said in encrypted, messages back and forth. Everything you said online as far as social media goes. And so on. Soon they'll have social credit scores in place, and you bet your bottom dollar that Elon Musk is going to host that social credit score on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call the thing now. They changed names. Everybody still calls it Twitter. Some people, will call it this or that, but it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is, they don't need these people anymore. And when you go up that ladder to success, they're not just going to let you have all that money and fame free and clear. They're just not. They're going to have people assigned to you that are, watching you every minute of every day. They're looking to see who you're going out with, who you're sleeping with, what drugs you're doing, what dirt you got brewing in the background, basically. And they're taking record of it. That way, if you ever try to go off reservation, tell them no. Warn people what's going to happen. Well, they just air out your dirty laundry, or at least threaten you with it first. They'll threaten you with it. And then if you still don't behave yourself, then they'll hang you out to dry. And, this is common mafia tactics, but most of you who are familiar with Hollywood history, you'll know that not only has the CIA been involved in Hollywood for a long time, but organized crime has always been part of this. Just like, child slavery and all this kind of stuff has always been part of it. Think back to the books you read as a kid, like Charles Dickens and, Davy Copperfield, sent off by his stepfather to the factory to be a slave. What's another good one? Pinocchio. Pinocchio, he might have been a puppet or whatever, but he was still considered a boy in the movie, and, the guy snatches him up and, puts him in a show, right? This has been going on since the Middle Ages. Circuses used to come through town, and, kids would be snatched up, and they, running off with the circus. Well, a lot of those kids, they ran off, decided they didn't want to do it, but then found out, yeah, now they're not going to let you leave. That kind of stuff. Well, that, might have cleaned up on the surface, but the entertainment industry still runs on a lot of this, same kind of stuff. But now that we are in the digital age, things are changing. Things are changing really fast. It's no secret that YouTube has, and other social media platforms, but mainly YouTube has basically become the new Hollywood. You know, I'm basically at like, C-list actor status on this unit right now, right? You have, someone like Dr. Peter Weller, who has, recently at 78 years old, decided to create a YouTube channel. Why? Because this is the next wave. They are shuttering Hollywood. They're shuttering all these old systems for the Great Reset, and they're getting ready to start something new. And this is that new thing. Like, in so many ways, what we're doing now is writing the history of the new entertainment industry. We're laying those foundations as we speak. And, the movers and shakers of, like, this space will, basically go down in history for what we decide to do right now. With AI and stuff coming in, we are at a turning point. We are at a huge turning point. And this is, this is part and parcel to why you have all these things going down. Now, back to Diddy, the fact of the matter is, he was not supposed to fight back, right? Same thing with Epstein. He was not supposed to fight back. When you get signed up on this stuff, it's understood, or at least it will be made clear to you eventually, that you are expected to take that fall when it comes. It's the Faustian bargain. Go back and read the story of Faust. What happens with him? He asks for fame and fortune. He's given it for a time. But then it comes time to pay the piper. They're going to ask you to do something for that. It's not free. Either you're going to have to do something up front, you're going to do something later, or both. More than likely both. And then some. You'll see these humiliation rituals done all the time where these stars will mess up somehow behind the scenes, and they'll be made to pay. Oh yes, they'll be made to pay. And that's if they're still allowed to do movies. They might even be put on hiatus for 10 years, or 15 even, or 20, or forever. It depends, right? It depends on how valuable you are and what you do, who you know, whose child you are, right? This is one of the reasons I don't like mentioning my family and stuff like that as much, because, it has effect on the way people treat you and things, and I like to be as genuine as possible. That's one of the reasons my videos are short and all that, so I don't have to do any editing to it, and I'm a real person, or at least, as best you can know, without meeting me in person. I think authenticity is going to be really important going forward, and, the AI slop is going to be pushed by YouTube and all these other platforms regardless. But we have to fight back. We have to at least give it everything we've got. Do you want to be going down in history as the people who just laid down and let this stuff happen? I don't. And, from, I was telling someone this morning, I feel like our ancestors, those that came before us, didn't try hard enough to let us know what we were going to be getting into. I sure didn't know. I ended up turning a contract down years ago because of what was in it. I was lucky. I just happened to have family in the music industry that, warned me and told me what to look for. Plus I was smart enough to read the legalese. Right. Now, Puffy, on the other hand, we can see clearly that he went straight to the top. He was at the top for decades. But now, they pulled his card. And, now they're putting out hit pieces on him and at Netflix and everything else. And that's because he fought back. Had he just took his medicine, had he just done what he was supposed to do, kind of like Ghislaine Maxwell did, right? Ghislaine Maxwell might even, as bad as I hate it, as bad as y'all are going to hate it, Ghislaine Maxwell might very well get off. Trump's liable to let her off because she does him a favor. And, and because she kept her mouth shut. She kept the powerful. She protected them. She put them behind that wall, behind her. and took that check. That means she's going to benefit from that. This would happen with Puffy if he just lay down and take it. But he don't want to. They went to go after his money, and he ain't happy about that. Oh no, he's not. Just like Epstein. Epstein was not happy about that. Which, I can understand. Taking your money, you don't know if they're going to, like, bump you off or, what they're going to do. This is the CIA and, organized crime and stuff, man. Like, people come up missing all the time, and, they might just Jimmy Hoffa you. You might just disappear. It doesn't matter how famous you are. Look how many famous people have just up and died under mysterious circumstances, etc. Right? Like, all it takes is a whoops, he overdosed or whatever it might be. Whatever your proclivities are, and I mean, it really, especially in this day and age where they can literally fabricate any evidence they want at any time they want. Look up the reporting of Jason Bermas and a program called signature reduction. For sure. Look that up, and you'll see what I mean. They can frame you for anything. Anything. So, all this old school stuff isn't needed anymore, and that's one reason why they'll even let someone like me come out and say this stuff. It's because they're folding Hollywood in. They're moving on to something else. So now everyone's coming out of the woodwork to tell you. I've been doing this stuff for years and years. Not on YouTube, of course, but I've been telling people for years this was coming. This is why, like, I've stayed in the underground. This is why I've done things the way I have for so many years. I've known it was coming. But, like, most people weren't about trying to get punished for this stuff. They really weren't. You kind of have to make a decision. It's like, how far are you willing to go to the top? Right? Or is it more about the music and, and entertaining and all that kind of stuff? And that's the part that's important to me. I care about entertaining. I care about, the art form itself, acting and singing and dancing and the history behind it. That's what drives me forward. Ever since I first saw Elvis, I was bit by the bug, man. Been bit ever since. And I mean, for those of you who might question what I'm saying, I mean, really think about it. If you were like the most powerful people in the nation, would you just let these people be famous, have all this money and all this power to influence people, maybe hurt your business, etc.? Or would you use what leverage you have and what leverage you can gain to make them behave themselves and do what you want them to do? Now, Puffy himself has been quoted as saying, oh, well, we don't really sign the super talented because the super talented don't need us. We sign those that are just talented enough, those that need us to make it, so that they're dependent on us for their continued fame and fortune. That's how it works, folks. That's how it works. If you're one of the smart ones that like won't fall for their tricks, you're not going to make it all the way to the big time. That's not how it works. At least not how it used to work anyway. But now we have a chance to build something different, something better. And that's like my mission going forward. Hopefully you guys will join me, and gals, of course. Until next time, my friends, peace out.